Do you want to do a podcast? We make a darn good team. It always goes without a hitch. Let's head to Twitch and go start up the stream. Do you want to do a podcast? It's the Nerd Glasses Podcast. Let's start now. Hi everyone and welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast.
Come? Alright, I'll do my own bit for myself.
Oh wait, no silence.
We're doing it.
Get off the road.
Hey, Dave and Crystal. A Quarian, a Vorcha, and a Krogan are in a hovercar. Who's driving? The arresting CSEC officer.
Well, good night, everybody.
That was perfect. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast. I'm Boater.
I'm Dave Man.
And joining us today...
Crystal
joining us from Ritual Motion, and we're super excited to talk to her about some of the things that we've got going, that Ritual Motion has going on, just a bit more about the company and so forth. As I mentioned to you before, we really get into that. Let's start with our kind of normal start here on the Nerd Glasses Podcast. First off, hello everyone in chat that is new to the show. Did I say the word normal? I didn't mean it.
I was going to say, first of all, so you're going to have Crystal on, and then we're going to do our usual song and dance rigmarole and have Crystal just
yeah. I warned her.
Chill here.
I warned her about the bad joke, but she's a Mass Effect fan, so it's fine. We'll be quick about it though. So for those of you new here, I see Zinging Cutie, Chia Snacks. Thank you everybody that is. She even has nerd glasses. It's true. It's true. You're a perfect fit. Yeah, so for those of you new here, welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast here at Insane Games TV. And when we start off with a couple of habits that we've fallen into. And one of them is talking about who was banned on Twitch this past week. And sometimes it ends up being something bad on Twitch's end. Sometimes it ends up being someone played stupid games and won stupid prizes. And I'm going to say that
we're
this
copywriting that phrase, by the way. That's going to be ours soon.
Actually, this one falls under the question of copyright, Dave, so you get a point. The streamer Will Neff was streaming and watched a Samurai Jack clip on the official Samurai Jack YouTube channel and was banned for it with a copyright strike.
Makes sense.
Yeah, he's like
oh,
he's like, oh, but it's on their official YouTube channel. Anyone can watch it. You know when you watch a sporting event and they say do not rebroadcast. Rebroadcast rights belong to
without the
NFL.
Express written consent of whichever governing body it is that so chooses.
Yep. I'm going to assume that whoever the governing body of Samurai Jack is didn't give him express written consent because streaming something off of YouTube is rebroadcasting. Sorry.
It's what? You
Yeah.
mean to tell me I can't just sit and watch a movie on my Twitch stream with everybody? Or, for example, like a boxing match or a race event or say watch Jake Paul get punched out by Manny Pacquiao? It'd be great.
I don't know. That might fall under the public interest, watching Jake Paul get punched out. That's all I got. Someone that got all up in arms. It's on their YouTube channel. I mean, among other things, that's something that might have been blocked in some countries that your stream wasn't blocked to. So, good job. Part 2 of our opening rigmarole, Dave.
So, especially now that we are on the other end of a pandemic where here in the US we are allowed to be out and about and shopping and things like that, games are more accessible by people in physical copy. Obviously, for those of you folks that are digital only, you've been golden since last March, but we always take a look at games that are coming out in the next a week or so. Since we're here next week, we'll tune you up. But looking at the week ahead,
Tune you up. I'm sorry, your gamer needs a tune up. Like,
I mean, if you can manage to get yourself a new graphics card and things like that,
okay,
especially today.
fair.
Like,
I was going to try to figure out if like staying hydrated was the equivalent of an oil change.
so I know there's one game that Boda really wants me to talk about, but to
No,
be
take your
totally
time
honest,
getting to it. It's fine.
to be totally honest, there is one game coming out that I, more than anyone else on this planet, is so excited to buy a second copy of. It would be the game that I nominated as Game of the Year a couple of years ago,
Ooh.
and the one that totally rationalized my PlayStation for the entire year, and that would be Bend Studios' Days Gone.
Ooh, okay.
Ironically enough, both of the games that I really liked for the 2 years, being Days Gone and then Death Stranding, I entirely stopped playing once the pandemic really hit, because nothing makes your viewers a little more sad than being reminded that once you turn off the video game and you turn left, it's just like what they were watching right here. But
Second verse, same as the first.
Days Gone was a hugely fun game. It's an open world game based in Oregon, where they did in fact map out landmarks, all these other things. The catch is you are an ex-member of a bike gang who is surviving in an unsure world where this is really on the nose nowadays, but virus is going out and people are getting infected.
Yeah.
And they are becoming mad. They are not zombies. That's the one thing. This was not another zombie game. They became superhumanly strong and things like that. If you have to equate it to anything, it was more of a DayZ than a Dawn of the or Day of the.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite games, still play to this day, still tuning up my bike, still flying over things and
I remember seeing a few of your stream highlights that were it was
just
buggy
because
at release, but it got there.
just because the bike would go up and I would go that way and the bike would go that way and
All while there's no bike audio at all.
but I really enjoyed that game, and I don't think there's anything coming out in the next week beyond that, Boater. I'm not gonna lie. The 18th, Days Gone for Windows. Make sure to grab that one. But other than that, really quiet week for a game.
I think 2 out of 3 of us on here would disagree. Crystal, what's coming out on the 14th?
Only the best game ever in the history of all time ever.
The Mass Effect Legendary Edition, the remaster of the first of the Mass Effect trilogy, the Shepard trilogy of Mass Effect, is coming out, and it's been exciting over the past half year to look at some of the details that, what's getting updated, what are they changing, what are they keeping the same, like a legacy control scheme for the Mako. Yeah, it's that comes out on Friday, and if it wasn't for St. Jude PLAYLIVE and them saying maybe don't play stuff that's M-rated, then I would be lost in that game for months. So when June 1st hits, I'm off the radar.
Yeah. If anyone from Virtual Motion is watching this right now, and I might disappear on the 14th, you might not see me for a while. Sorry. In advance.
She's gonna come down sick and won't be able to telecommute in.
Yeah, for like a few weeks.
Check their online status. You'll know that there's signs of life when the level markers change.
She may or may not have a huge crush on Liara. Just saying. No judgment. That's I mean, not as good as Garrus, but
Hey, Liara is my blue space wife. End of
There you
story.
My Turian boyfriend, I'm very happy with. So.
I
boy.
did want to shout out one other title that's going to be
Yes.
coming out that will be interesting in so much as it's actually coming out in a couple days. But on the 13th, the fans of Rooster Teeth games are getting another installment from them. It's a hack and slash called Ruby Grim Eclipse, the definitive edition for the Nintendo Switch.
Nice.
Some of you are saying, I already have Grim Eclipse on PC or mobile or what have you, but this is going to be coming out for the Switch. It's going to be official release. You can get physical copies of it, which will certainly include some amount of extras, as any Ruby release does. But if you're a fan of hack and slash and things like that, definitely get tame your wallet and get out there and find some.
Demon Dragon, welcome to the stream. You keep your Turian, Liara is Bay.
Hey.
All right, so now that we've kind of gone through who did an oopsie in the last week and what games we can look forward to in the next week, Crystal, thank you so much for joining us here. I asked you to come on because you're representing Ritual Motion, which is something that I have talked about a little bit on the show here before. I am an affiliate, full disclosure, and when a link is mentioned later on, that will come into play. But when I describe Ritual Motion in like the elevator pitch, I try to do so as I try to say like, oh, it's a company with products and blog and such focused on gamer health and wellness. Does that match up with how you guys see yourselves? Like, big dumb question block. What is Ritual Motion?
Well, I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right. But I think, health and wellness and all of the various topics that we cover in content and our products is a little bit more directed, just generalized for the good of gamers. So, I mean, obviously, we kind of encompass the health and wellness side of it. We talk a lot about diversity, inclusion, collegiate side of things, education. So it's all of the stuff that maybe people really aren't talking about in the industry. We're kind of amplifying that.
Yeah, I definitely. Again, I noticed the health and wellness more, but now that I think about it, and you mentioned the diversity and such, it's stuff that sometimes gets a token. Oh, hey, we're totally focused on whatever, but like you guys seem to live it a lot more, and to really focus on it.
Yeah. I mean, like the esports scene especially is like, yeah, health and wellness is important, but we have stuff to do. So for us, it's a good time to kind of talk a little bit more about those topics that are, involved with that and spread awareness, because, sometimes awareness is going to generate that conversation, it's going to pull in that education, and it just spirals from there.
How did you guys get started out? Because I was first made aware of you guys with the Warrior Gaming skins, but I know that Ritual Motion predates that specific product.
So I'm going to tell all of this wrong because I haven't been here from the very beginning. I actually just recently joined last October, and this was kind of after they made their shift into content. But I know that when Ritual first started, it was all about the gaming skins, the products for gamers. And that e-commerce side was, I think, at the specific focus at the time, until they realized that there was a really big space that desperately needed more content surrounding all the topics that we just mentioned before. And in October, they brought me on full time as the VP of content. So I'm covering, all of the editorial stuff, the videos, any sort of podcast material we have. That is all under my umbrella. So I kind of control all of that. But
That's awesome.
We're definitely a little bit more content oriented based, and the products and stuff kind of complement that, I guess you could say. So yeah, we're less of a product brand and more of, I guess you would say, a content lifestyle brand now.
Yeah, that tracks. Like, because I remember when I first got the skins, it was like, oh, cool, they sell gamer stuff, and now, like, looking at your site, ritualmotion.com, it absolutely does look like here's the content, and then also there's a shop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely wanted to put more of a focus on content because, I mean, obviously the space desperately needs that kind of coverage, as far as health and wellness and the rest of it goes. So we definitely saw the spot and we wanted to fill that and capitalize on it. And I think, as of now, we're probably the leading content supplier for those topics.
That's awesome.
So you say that you were brought into Ritual Motion after it had wheels on the ground and decided to, as any successful business would want to do, look at where they are headed and where they could head and start moving in these different directions, growing and changing. What is it your position does for Ritual Motion, and then as outreach for the gaming as a whole? What's that like?
Oh man, it's busy. It's busy work. It's I mean, I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
And I mean, doing it full time now is just it's fantastic. But I mean, for me, I started out as a writer. I've been a writer in esports for over 10 years now.
Nice.
So that kind of that's my comfort zone, I guess you could say. So moving into the editorial side of things was easy for me because I came in, we started writing content. I was literally writing features every single day, trying to boost our numbers until we started pulling on some freelance writers, and we have an awesome team of freelance writers that create just phenomenal content. But then moving from there, we started doing more with RMTV. So I moved a little bit more out of my comfort zone and started doing a little bit more video, a little bit more podcasts. I'm a very introverted person, and talking to people scares me. So that's something that I'm focusing on now. But yeah,
Well, don't be afraid. Boater scares a lot of people, so don't fret.
He's not wrong.
No, I mean, but it's been great. I mean, it's been a lot of growth, not just with Ritual, but with me making content and being more of I guess you could say, a well-rounded content creator versus just a writer or a journalist. And that's definitely kind of that barrier that I wanted to break. So I'm really excited. We have so many exciting things to look forward to.
Not to press on anything, but you mentioned like gamer wellness, health, but also social issues that are faced in gaming as a whole, gaming's journalism, and things like that. Could you elaborate a little bit on that? What's Ritual Motion in your personal take and go into it?
No, I mean, I think me personally too, like one of my big focuses in the industry is amplifying the voices of women in games. I'm actually an ambassador for Women in Games, which is a nonprofit that helps provide resources and supports other women that are trying to get into video games or esports and don't really necessarily know how to. So that's always been a specific focus for me, and obviously that directly aligns with what Ritual Motion is doing. We're all about amplifying other people's voices, sharing other content, welcoming other people into the brand. So that's me personally. That's definitely been my primary focus. I mean, obviously, LGBT, like anything that you could think of, like that is what we support, and I think we're doing a pretty good job as far as that goes, I think.
Nice. Zinging Cutie mentions that Ritual recently had a college fair that you emceed. So congratulations on trying to pretend to be an extrovert. I know that struggle.
It's hard. It's hard. 4 hours of posting.
I know that you guys have some sort of collegiate program that is either like in the works or underway. Can you tell us more about that?
That's definitely, more of an area that I don't focus a lot into. Okay. But I know that, we do a lot of different support and outreach to, various colleges that have esports programs and clubs. And a lot of that is kind of turning back into what is coming up next for us that we've been kind of hinting about. So that's all I'm going to say about that part.
Well, I'll make sure to lay that question out on the table in a few minutes. But
for those of you watching, Ritual Motion is going to be making a big announcement soon, and we're kind of interviewing them right before the curtain goes up. So there's going to be some things that we're going to ask, and we just get kind of told like, "All right, thank you, bye." Like,
you see that lawyer over your shoulder with the gag order?
By the way, I gotta go. So yeah.
Just mark down what question she doesn't answer. No, I'm kidding. That's
okay. One thing that's been really cool the past couple months has been the community. I saw like when the Discord was launched, and the community at the Ritual Motion Discord is growing. I don't know if you want to kind of go in a bit about what we've been doing there. With the link dropped in chat for those who are there.
Hopefully that works. Yeah.
It looks good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't take any credit for the Discord. I think Elena is the one that's in chat right now, and that's been her forte. That's been her focus, and she's done an incredible job pulling in our community and creating these awesome events. I mean, we've had 2 community game nights already. Unfortunately, I had to miss the second one, but the first one was a ton of fun. I've also learned that I am horrible at playing Among Us. I look suspicious even when I'm not. Yeah, I mean,
It's been really cool. Like I joined the community too. I co-streamed the first couple of community nights, and it's been a really good time. And it's been really fun meeting other people through Ritual Motion, whether it's other streamers or just other people hanging out in general, and sharing pet photos is always a good icebreaker
yes.
for my two fur babies, and seeing everyone else's. So it's really cool. It's a really positive community, and I think that it's a credit to Ritual Motion and its mission to see the kind of people that believe in that and live that.
Yeah, kindness is definitely our forefront. It's our focus, and I love the fact that we've been able to cultivate this community and bring more people in, and it's been so great to meet everyone, and we're still growing. It's amazing.
Running into in jokes from our channel and network into other things. But yes, we have had a lot of nights where we're playing with groups and things, and I don't know about you guys, but when you have close family members and things like that, and you can kind of throw them under the bus as a good icebreaker catch-all joke. But if any of you do play Among Us with any of us in the future, my brother Vladdy is immediately to be thrown out. It's even if you definitely know he's not the murderer, it's the best way to help everybody collectively, including him, because he's not sure how to do late game in Among Us, just because we collectively just every
You
time
don't give him the chance.
Nope, no, we do not. Sometimes we even do a little bit of a gimmick where we throw on an anthem or two, and one of us will monologue about why he needs to be the one to go, and then he's usually like, "Well, I'm voting for me too."
It's true. I've seen it happen.
So, what would you say? So, on this program, Boder and I do bring up a lot of things in our spheres, on our necks of the woods, in our works and our streaming and things like that catch our attention, and the community that we've been able to create here on Insane Games TV, and to bring things to people's attention. We've discussed topics such as I used to work for the Boy Scouts of America, and we discussed recent events with them. And then up until recently, we've been doing a lot of coverage on the Apple versus Epic and all of the snowfall that has occurred from that, and things like that. But as a journalist, to bring this back around to you, what would you say has 2021, with the fact that there are so many places to post, so many places to be heard and hear, nowadays, more than just way back when it was a forum or YouTube comments and that was kind of it. What would you say, personally, to groom this question around, is a strength or a weakness of the fact that there are so many opportunities for voices to be heard, or for people to reach out and information to be out there? For you as a journalist, does that help? Does that hinder? How does that work, especially in the digital age?
Honestly, I think it's a little bit of both. I would say, just because there's a lot of misinformation and stuff that happens too, and we're starting to see journalism, especially in the esports and gaming scene, kind of evolve a little bit. And you're seeing, that we still have our publications and your sources that you go to, but you're starting to see a lot more journalists become a little bit more just general content creators that focus on that news. So a lot of people are now finding their sources and their news content from specific people, versus publications. So I think there's a lot of change, and there's a big shift that's going on right now, I think. And yeah, it's like I said, it's a little bit of both. I think it's just, you kind of roll with it and you do the best you can, and you know that other people are going to be spreading stuff that aren't necessarily true, or it's a mess, but you find a way to thrive in it.
Any pointers for podcasters such as us out there to vet storytelling. We've been lucky enough where both Boder and I have worked in various capacities to know, like, the front page of Kotaku. Great content, excellent stuff, not to demean anyone that writes for it, but sometimes you check the liner notes, you click through and you look at these things, whereas some people may not. But any advice for when you are going to write a story or when you can do these things, how do?
How do? You wing it. No. No, I mean, fortunately for me, because I've been writing for so long, I've made these connections. So a lot of the stuff that I get, I'm getting firsthand.
Nice.
So it's not, kind of wandering on the internet and finding a website and then taking that and just posting it on Ritual Motion or wherever, else we write at. It's, we're having conversations with companies and people. The news that's happening is being sent to us specifically. And ultimately, though, I just, it takes research. Just common sense. Don't believe everything you hear. Don't believe everything you read on the internet. You need to do your own research and see what's going on, and then you can formulate a story out of it.
Yeah, like go at least one layer deeper than what you read. It's back it up a little bit, maybe with something. Yeah, but yeah, thank you. Now that we've been talking for about a half an hour, now I think we can risk scaring you off.
That scares me.
What? No. Well, I guess we can risk that gag order coming in from Ritual Motion lawyers. What? So tomorrow is a really exciting day for Ritual Motion. What can you tell us?
Nothing. I'm leaving. Bye.
No! All right, then I'll just have to fill in with the best that I know without you.
We read on the front page of this.
No. I mean, tomorrow is a huge day. It's going to be incredible, but we are launching what we are calling RM Guild. I'm not going to jump way too far into it. Like, if you want to experience it for yourself, the kickoff party is tomorrow. If you haven't signed up to join the waitlist yet, then you definitely need to. It's going to be awesome. But we have some amazing guests that are going to come in and do some talking. We're going to talk a little bit more about what RM Guild is and what to expect in the future. And that's all tomorrow.
That's awesome. What time is the launch party?
The launch party is at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
I believe 7 Central.
Awesome. So I will make sure to hop into that a bit tomorrow night. That'll be really exciting. I can't wait.
And if any of you watching are on the wait list and you're afraid that you're not going to be able to make it, wink, wink, hint, hint, contact me and I'll get you an invite.
Nice. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining us today. For anyone interested in checking out Ritual Motion, you can go to ritualmotion.com. There's a ton of great content that has been written there. There is also the Ritual Motion shop that I have mentioned. If you go to ritualmotion.com/shop and use the code BOTER, that is BOTER, at checkout, you get 10% off of your order at checkout. That is my affiliate link, and any what I would normally make from that, I am putting towards St. Jude PLAYLIVE as a donation at the end of the month. And I can talk more about St. Jude later on in the broadcast, but that is where you can go for that. So anything more to add?
I like your jacket, by the way. I should have said it earlier.
Thank you.
We would love to have you on in the future to chat more about in the future, and if you would ever like to collaborate or things like that, especially about gaming topics, things like that. Insane Games TV is a diverse set of hosts and things like that, and we are a 9,000 square foot complex here in Saratoga Springs, New York. So we are essentially located to do events and things like that. So as a thing, if you're interested ever in, but if you ever want to come on and chat something that's really hitting you, that needs a signal boost, definitely hit up myself or Boder. We would love to continue to Boder and I both try to keep it kind for people and things like that, but we have been known to hoist up the pants, frown a little bit, and say, like, by the way, blank isn't right, and you shouldn't feel right about perpetuating it and things like that. So please keep us in the loop, and please remember that we want to help as much as we can with other voices and things like that, as well as helping Ritual Motion in the future with Insane Games TV.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, thank you so much. That's awesome. I will definitely be hitting you up. And if you ever need a guest any other time, just contact me.
Butter, you're fired. Now I'm kidding.
Well,
Thanks for watching. I'm your brand new host.
He threw the SteelSeries headsets. We only get nice things once a year, Boder. That was our Christmas gift, and by that I mean we stole someone else's Christmas gift.
I lobbed it. It's fine. Okay. So thank you again, Crystal. We're gonna dive into the rest of the show now, I think. I think that we'll take it from here. But again, thank you so much, and we'll all keep in touch.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
All right. So. Okay, so I guess it's one of us has to hang up a Skype call, but oh, there we go. Awesome. That was a lot of fun. And again, poor Boder. No, don't feel bad for me. Never feel bad for me. That is another thing you will learn as you're around here.
Here's the thing with Boder and I. We are glad to play the foils for people. We are glad to play the rare people. If you ever need a quick joke and things like that, we're the people that'll be the ones to go, moi.
Yeah, we enjoy being the butt of jokes that are good-natured. Never feel bad for him. Yeah. So yeah, I mentioned St. Jude. I'm gonna talk about that for a minute, and then
Why not?
Sure. So
I mean,
we gave an update.
We're destroying it, and we should be mentioning that.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
important.
We at the end of last week we talked about how our St. Jude team is doing. And right now our team has raised $3,693.69 because not only are we awesome, we are also super mature. And yeah, it's that is passing our third goal that we set for ourselves. I hit my individual goal of $600 this past weekend. We have a team of about a dozen people that are all doing just amazing stuff. So it's been really great watching this team continue to excel. So again, that's I mentioned that my personal proceeds from Ritual Motion stuff is going to go towards mine, so that's one way to do it. Another way that you can make a donation is that in a moment, as I outpace my talking, you can hush. Pick any streamer on this team and make a donation, and it's a great way to help out St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Our fundraising goes through the end of May. So, what was it? Because I started saying my mouth started making promises that my hands weren't ready to cash with the link yet.
Not in the least. I'm giggling at the fact that my St. Jude's journey started as one guest spot on one of your streams.
Yeah.
And now here we are, a 12-person team raising over $3,000 to tell cancer. And we're going to continue to do so.
Yeah. It's a really rewarding thing that we get to do each year. It's my 6th year doing it, and I'm really happy. So, that goes through the end of May. So I mentioned June 1st is the day after that, and boy, are we going to have some roundups on that. But that is a few weeks out. So, yeah, that is the update on our St. Jude Damn Bugs team process.
So now let's just chat individually. So Boder,
Sure.
Next stream here on Insane Games TV is the Citadel.
Yep.
One of your chances to fundraise for St. Jude here on Insane Games TV. What's the dealio? What are you playing? What are you doing?
Sure. On the Citadel, I tend to play games that weren't super well games that aren't great and aren't awful, but somewhere in between. So I picked Dark Void to be playing this month. I had a bunch of M-rated games on my rotation, and they say let's keep it to games that patients can tune in and watch. Because, like, how cool is that? Like, if you're a patient and just being able to see complete strangers raising money for the hospital, I think is really cool. So I picked Dark Void, which is a T-rated game, and we did the first act last week, and we're gonna see if we can get through the whole second act this week. We'll see how that goes. I have no idea how long that's gonna take.
Dark Void, a game notorious and only memorable to me because when I started here at Insane Games, we had one copy of Dark Void. That same copy is still here with me, and every time I redo one of the alphabetical walls, I pick it up and I go, oh.
Yeah, and it's interesting for me because it is replacing another game on the rotation. It is replacing Assassin's Creed, which has someone voiced by Nolan North, and the protagonist of Dark Void also voiced by Nolan North, because it is an action adventure game that came out in the late aughts. Thus, Nolan North.
I am very excited that my community came together and they had two options for what I should stream on the weekend Wednesday tomorrow at 9. So if you decide to, what's the term for people that go to parties and stay for a social amount of time and then leave?
You're asking me about parties, David?
I mean, the both
Not
of us.
only am I
the
a
both of
year
us-
out of practice, but I wasn't a good party person to begin
the both
with.
of us collectively got invited to maybe one of our own birthday parties, so it's it's a thing. But if you decide to go to the Ritual Motion party at 8 and then look at the time at 9 p.m. here on Insane Games TV, the weekend Wednesday will be going off, and this week will be the ever popular art streams where
Ooh.
the community gets together, we throw out random art prompts, and then everybody draws whatever they feel like for whatever amount of time, and then you get to brag and show off your work. For those of you that are saying, like, well, what sort of one of the prompts was things you've had traded in at the store, and so I came up with the trash bag with "Can I get cash for this?" It's visible to the
Oh, okay.
the
Okay,
audience.
cool. Sorry, I'm looking on the tiny screen way over there. Yes.
Another one of the prompts, just to give everyone an idea, was your favorite Pokemon or things like that. And so this is me and my favorite medium drawing using Sharpies, as well as my co-host anytime I stream at home, my cat Savannah. But I will be offering that the top donor last week for Bro Dave's Call of Duty stream took home a Funko Pop of John Glaber Torres and got the story, the true story of the Three Little Pigs read to them at the end of the stream. This week's top donor incentive is going to be any and all of the art I create will be mailed to you with a thank you note. And I do have another interesting tale if someone decides to donate to that incentive to be read. I will tease that it is from the tome The Stinky Cheese Man and Other Fairly Stupid Tales.
Oh, wow.
And I look greatly forward to busting out character voices I haven't done in over a decade to read said story at the end of the stream. But
wow.
Auntie's saying I'm up for that. But I'm so excited to get to do this again. Captain Mr. Manbeard the Pirate and Sea of Thieves will actually be done in a couple of weeks on the weekend Wednesday. He's certainly ornery about it, but he will be fine. But this and so much more on Insane Games TV, just with a simple follow. Zinging Cutie, thank you so much for the follow. Chia Snacks as well. And want to make sure that I don't not call anybody else out. CKM Words, thank you so much for joining the army. We don't really have a community name for Insane Games TV yet, but we will.
No, yeah,
We will.
eventually. We'll get there. Some lucky, unfortunate soul will name it inadvertently. Or
I mean-
game. That's what happened with yours.
I mean, it stuck, and we've kept it.
We will wear this typo like a badge of honor.
Soon, trademark. Um, but one of the topics that has been ringing through our ears, actually, before I transitioned hard away from St. Jude's, I did want to call out congratulations to our newer team members that this is
Oh my
actually their
gosh.
first time streaming, let alone doing these things. You guys are crushing it. You're doing amazing. And the thing that I implore everybody, especially with streaming and things like that, is it never hurts to look up at
Mhm.
what these other streamers are doing, what followers they have, what content they create, things like that. But to compare your work to theirs is just simply giving yourself stress for no reason. You're doing great and you're going to do awesome. Do you and do what you do best, which is being you.
That authenticity will bring you more long-term followers than any sort of shtick that you put on.
hmm So just because I've noticed a lot of people in our Discord for the Damn Bugs team being a little bit down on themselves or things like that, and a lot of the larger donor numbers getting thrown around, and so just know that any dollar raised for St. Jude's really is going to a good cause, and
Mhm.
it's going to fight, and it's you know $3 million already, and over $3 million already raised as a collective whole. So know that you're a part of something big every time you do this with us. But you know what we are not a part of, and we certainly will not be sticking our heads into, is any California-based courts for the next year, because it is getting ugly already, and it's
Yeah.
only been the first week of Epic versus Apple. One of the big topics that's been prevalent in many of our streams, because Epic Games is huge.
Epic Games is enormous, Apple is enormous, and we are seeing all of the games industry's dirty laundry being aired. Which is something the games industry is very secretive. Even among other entertainment industries, there's a lot of like, oh, we weren't ready to announce that yet. That is trade secrets. That is proprietary information. And so like during the court proceedings, there was a bunch of times where one of the lawyers would start to read something and then would get a hey, psst, 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 and some third party would be like, no, actually, we want that redacted. We want that to be considered classified. You know, that wasn't during discovery, and then during court, oh, there's this going on. And like the judge is just getting like, stop it.
Because for those of you that don't know what the whole point of and why trials aren't immediately um, accusation, trial, verdict. It's accusation, then everybody gathers everything relevant. It's called the discovery phase in trial, and then interns and lawyers file all of that paperwork into categories: useful, not useful, this is useful for this argument, and things like that, and all this paperwork gets vetted down into a usable packet of documents for defense or the prosecution. And with any industry where multiple companies are involved, as with this court case, because let's just to name a few off the top of our heads: Sony, Microsoft, Valve, Steam, Google, Apple, Epic Games, just the little people involved in this, and nothing, the companies that don't have years of planning going on.
Gary Oldman shouting, everyone.
Yes. So all of these companies had to surrender documents because originally Epic was going around and Apple was going around and saying, "Hey, will you support us on this initiative?" And all of them literally went, "Oh no, you get a lawyer about this." And then they did. Partially because, and Boder and I have lived through this over the years, as many of you gamers out there have. Video games in court are a very taboo subject and a very digital media is a very almost controversial to say that they're never really sure where to put it or how to try it. What precedents have been set for it
It's possibly
previously,
fair to say, yeah.
and which ones apply to these things. And so you have these lawyers that have these monumental battles, almost a Don Quixote-esque conflict in front of them, where they have to tilt at these windmills to try to figure out which one can be defended, which one can be prosecuted, and which one is the judge literally going to look at and just throw out.
Yeah.
Um,
And there's a lot of throwing everything at the wall. And a lot of the stuff getting thrown, again, like there's people caught in the crossfire that are like, no, like I know why you want to say the profits earned on such and such to support your side of the argument, but that's our information that we wanted redacted. And it's just all of it, like everyone getting involved. This is kind of like a world war for the video game industry, and that it is just pulling in company after company after company getting drawn into it, even if they didn't want to be.
we to explain, because I looked into a lot of this and I did consult with my lawyer about this. Right now, no one per se has threatened. The reason why information is getting redacted now that it is already in the court phase is a courtesy to privacy for some of these other companies, and or legal binding documentation that somehow accidentally got filed to the wrong place and got into these people's hands. But for now, a lot of these Apple and Epic don't want to finish their battle and then turn around and have to face, say, a Google. And have Epic versus Google. So that's why a lot of these companies are playing nice with each other and saying, hey, by the way, you might want to throw that document out because that's private information for us. And that's why they're all going, yes, never mind this point and on to this piece.
Yeah, yeah, that's true too.
Thus far in the case, if you read the different documents and things, and I've pulled up in front of me a write up from someone in the games industry, but if you read a lot of the not to say
Reports?
monologues that are coming out, but the write-ups of what was said that is released and when they are allowed to be released and what's allowed to be in the public. Thus far, it has been a lot of Epic presenting their case. Apple has been able to respond, but and cross-examine some of the witnesses called and things like that. But and for example, those witnesses, a lot of them are nitty-gritty and people that whose names, even if we told you their name and title, it still wouldn't elaborate as to whom they are. But thus far, it has really been Epic so far, and Apple is still waiting for their chance to present their case or present their defense. In ascribing against Apple or Epic. So it'll be very interesting to see that table turn and see what Apple has chosen to present about.
Yeah. There's been a bunch of like mini stories coming out of this. Do you want to like, we'll each pick one to share as like how something that stuck out to us in the past week? Because I have like a kind of funny story that was shared, and I don't know if you've got a couple that you want to share like details from it as well.
I've been doing a lot of looking at the transcripts and things like that, so I haven't been looking at specifically what has been released ever since that PSN revenue document share.
Okay.
So I've been looking at just the case itself. So I'd be very interested to see what shook out from it for you.
Sure. So one thing that the Epic Games Store publishes on PC is that they do mostly games, but they do have some non-game apps as well. And that includes the itch.io or itch.io. I usually pronounce it itch.io, but I guess it's itch.io. The itch game store, which is mostly indie developers and like smaller funding stuff like that. And it does have some adult content in those games because Itch is really good at that exclusivity.
Hmm.
I've played a couple games off of there that explore LGBTQ sexuality, and they're games that would never make it on the Apple Store for being adult. So Apple used Itch.io's presence on Epic Game Store as proof that if they opened up their platform, then it would allow offensive and sexualized content on their platform. Offensive and sexualized being their term for it. Itch, of course, responded on Twitter saying, "Guys, Apple's lawyers just called. They said we need to turn off all the games." Latest from Itch.io Press Room, we are renaming our sensitive content filter to Unspeakable Games because Apple's lawyers referred to them as things that they could not speak of in court. But it's like, if you want to police your platform, I see where that is a thing. Whether they should police their platform with stuff for consenting adults is a completely different topic that we're running out of time and I don't really want to go into. But it's also like, you guys have Safari on your app store, right? Do you know the places a web browser can go? I'm not going to say where because we're a sort of family-friendly program, but it's just something. It was one of those things, and even like Epic, which was being brought to task for Itch's presence on there, was like, they have, I don't know, like hundreds of games on. They've got like thousands of games on there, so even Epic didn't really like. Itch is its own thing that happens to be on Epic's app store, and like you could tell from their defense of it that they were like, this isn't really like. I get why you're questioning me on this, but this is another company. I don't know, it was an anecdote that like I was going through my Twitter feed and I see all of Itch's response. I'm like, oh, this gonna be good. I grabbed my popcorn and dove into it.
Can't wait to hear if they get also called in to later legs and segments of the defense and prosecution.
I want their defense to be opening up Safari on an iPhone and saying, "Does anyone know how to spell Pornhub?" I don't.
I mean, you should call their lawyers and get yourself I'll
be your expert witness.
Advisory fee. Oh God.
And it's not on the iPhone part. I have an Android. Okay, no. Next. Oh, I need Jesus. All right.
So, I did want to. I know that Boder really wants to get into Dark Void, and I can't wait for it. But I did want to bring back an old joke from the beginnings of a lot of the streamings here on Insane Games TV.
Ooh.
Through me and my community. But there was this god-awful game that Vladdy just loved. And he would constantly text me about it, and he would constantly be talking about it, and he didn't even have the system to play it on it. But that man made me absolutely sick to death of Sunset Overdrive.
Okay.
I never played it. In fact, anytime we got it in store, I would send him a video of me throwing it straight in the bin. And then, on May the 4th, ironically enough, he messaged me, and he said, well, looky what I have-y. And it was an article titled, Sony has filed a trademark for Sunset Overdrive. Now, Microsoft had let it lapse.
Okay.
And I look forward to see how this Xbox One and PC exclusive game vets out and things like that. But I unfortunately then was challenged to a bit of a bet, and that's if... but Vladdy has no PlayStation. That's the problem, Auntie. That's the issue, is that if it comes to the PlayStation, he managed to Rumpelstiltskin me on this, where I will be getting it if it comes to PlayStation and streaming it, just so Vladdy can see how awful that game is. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Um, but I'm looking greatly forward to that. As much as I am looking forward to Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires, which blessedly does not yet, if he buys it for you. Don't give him ideas like that, because there's many games he would like me to play that if he just hands me copies of them. But Sony, do the right thing, bin Sunset Overdrive, or make a different game using the Sunset Overdrive IP. Just don't make Sunset Overdrive, okay? Sony, help me out. I need this.
It's going to be an open world. Actually, I don't even know what genre Sunset Overdrive was. I know what it visually looks like. I was going to joke that it's going to be an open world action adventure RPG, but that might have been what it originally was.
It was. Did you ever play Crackdown?
Also, no.
Okay. So it was. Did you ever play? Nope.
Probably
you never.
not.
You never had a PlayStation, so you never played any of those games. Boater, have you played Grand Theft Auto?
No, but I know enough where that lies. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So open. It's an open world. It is an RPG per se, and they use all those weapons and powers and things to fight mutants and other such enemies and
Infamous.
fantasies. Yes, exactly like Infamous. Sunset Overdrive looks like Infamous already beat you to your own gimmick.
Except that Sunset Overdrive was that for Xbox because it didn't have Infamous, obviously. So it's interesting that Sony picks it up, and I wonder what they'll be doing with it.
Oh, what's that, Boater? Ring, ring. Oh, Borderlands is calling. Sunset Overdrive, they want their graphics engine back.
Oh, you said Borderlands. I thought you said Boaterlands. I'm like, Boaterlands are calling. I'm sorry, my people?
Speaking of boaters people, if you are a boatarian, as we end things here on the Nerd Glasses podcast, definitely make sure to tune in to right after the Nerd Glasses. The Citadel goes live, where Boater will be playing Dark Void with all sorts of St. Jude's goodies and incentives here within.
I'll have my button back.
Gameplay and fun, and we look forward to seeing you there next. Anything in closing?
Nope. We'll be offline for 5, maybe 10 minutes as we move the set over, then 10-minute countdown. So plenty of time to make some popcorn, grab a drink, and settle down for the Citadel to close out the night. This was a really great time. Thank you again to Crystal for joining us. Thank you to Chia Snacks, Zinging Cutie, Annie Klaus Prime, and Demon Dragon in chat hanging out with us. It was a really great night, and I look forward to finishing it up on the Citadel. Until then, folks, I've been Boater.
I've been Dave, man.
And we'll see you next week at 7 o'clock Eastern right here on the Nerd Glasses podcast. Bye, everyone. That button.